Apology for the delayed start this morning. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the City of San Angelo Development Corporation to be held on July 27th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. at the East Mezzanine of City Hall, 72 West College Avenue, San Angelo, Texas, for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. Number one, we'll call the meeting to order. It is 8:37. And number two, will Director Ceballos lead us in prayer this morning?
Good morning. Lord, thank you for another day in paradise here in San Angelo, Texas. We ask to pray for all those in need who may be struggling right now, and we ask to pray for us, our elected officials, and to help us as a board continue our work here to see the success of San Angelo, Texas. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Number three, public comment. Issues or items that are not on the agenda may be raised by the public at this time. Citizens should speak from the podium, begin by stating their name, and limit remarks to less than 3 minutes. Board members may request that a discussed item be placed on a future agenda. The board takes public comment on all regular agenda items during the discussion of those items. Do we have any public comment?
Morning, Board. Michael Looney, Vice President of Economic Development, San Angelo Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted to let you know I did put some materials in front of each of you. This is our agricultural impact report, our quarterly data analytics report, and our annual report. So I'm not sure that everybody got a copy of that, so I wanted to make sure that you got a hard copy. We do send these out electronically, and just wanted to say thank you for your support, and make sure you got these. If you have any questions about them, feel free to call us. If you have any questions about the data analytics report, feel free to call Mike Berry. He'll understand how to translate all of that much better than I will. Thanks all.
All right, thank you, Michael. All right. Any other public comment?
Morning, Board. Nora Navarez, Economic Development Assistant. Just wanted to give you a quick update about the business plan competition. The deadline for entry and the two-page business overview is due August 8th by 5 p.m. And to let you know, we have received a few, and I've received a few phone calls as well that are asking, does this qualify? I said, absolutely. So I'm hoping for a good turnout on this competition.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Any additional public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Item A, consider approving the necessary corporation disbursements. B, consider approving the June 2022 meeting minutes. C, consider approving June 2022 financial statements. D, consider approving a copy or lease agreement by and between the City of San Angelo Development Corporation and CTWP for the Business Resource Center and Business Incubator, and authorizing the board president or the designee to execute all necessary documents. E, consider approving a lease agreement by and between the City of San Angelo Development Corporation and Vicky Terrell Coaching, and authorizing the board president or the designee to execute all necessary documents. F, consider approving a lease agreement by and between the City of San Angelo Development Corporation and the Golden Beacon P LLC, and authorizing the board president or the designee to execute all necessary documents. G, consider approving a sponsorship for the ASU SBDC Meet the Lender Luncheon in an amount not to exceed $500, and authorizing the board president or the designee to execute all necessary documents. And H, consider approving an updated guidelines for the Affordable Housing Assistance Program to reflect an increase in gap financing to $50,000 as approved by the board and ratified by the City Council. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first by Director Barrios, second by Director Ceballos. Any discussion?
Point of order, since one of the agenda items concerns an ASU entity, should we recuse ourselves or that's not necessary?
Now we've determined that it's a separate entity and you don't really have direct input into that, so no.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? See none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Nay? None? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on to regular agenda item number 5. A, update on parks and recreation projects funded by half-cent sales tax. Presentation by Carl White.
Yes, Carl White, Parks and Recreation Director.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay, making sure I knew how to work that. So, I want to give you an update on all the Parks and Recreation related projects that we either fully funding, partially funded, substantially funded, in some way touched half-cent sales tax funds. I was trying to think when the last time I gave an update on our projects, it may have been like 2018. So I went back as far as I could remember since the last update and started with this project. The first one is the Middle Concho Park boat ramp and restrooms improvement. This is one project that was just partially funded with half-cent sales tax, but this project included a new 4-lane boat ramp, parking, lighting, sewer line, and restrooms. Here's the location. If y'all are familiar with Lake Nasworthy, Middle Concho Park, take Red Bluff Road all the way out until it tees with the park. And if you keep driving, you'd run into the lake, which is where the boat ramp is. What was there before was a 2-lane boat ramp and a restroom facility, smaller restroom facility that was on septic tank. So when we redid this project, we decided to make a nice new 4-lane boat ramp with parking, new restrooms, with shower facilities because the public had expressed a desire to have those because you're out there camping and no place to clean up, so the showers are nice. Lighting and a sewer line. The last restroom was on septic. We had to tie it into sewer, and we had to go some distance to do that. 4-lane boat ramp, courtesy docks on both sides, restrooms, parking, lighting. It was a successful project. This project, my records show, it was a few years back, it was only about $11,416 that came out of half-cent sales tax. We started the project without a contingency fund, and we had a change order that related to the sewer line, and so we tapped into some half-cent sales tax funds to do that. That's the first project. Second project recently completed is the renovation of Brentwood Park. This was fully funded. I say fully funded, but this was an in-house project, so city staff did all the work. The improvements included a new playground, a new pavilion, new benches and tables, new walkways, irrigation around the common area, refurbishment of the tennis courts, and improved lighting. Brentwood Park is located near the intersection of Howard and Forest Park in the northwest part of the city. It's long. It follows a drainage canal down to the pond at Jefferson Street. It's not far from Cornerstone School. Currently, it has a disc golf course there as well, 9-hole disc golf course. And as you can see, we put in walkways that pretty much circumscribe the entire park. Here's a look at the new walkways. This park does have portable restrooms. We've constructed a new enclosure, refurbished the tennis court, more of the walkways, and you can see the drainage canal. We put in a small parking area for accessibility primarily, as well as some drainage. Here's the playground. It's kind of new, different, unique play equipment. The pavilion. And the only thing still outstanding with this park, we still see some orange fencing in the background. We're trying to finish the irrigation system, and the irrigation is just there at the common area, the pavilion, the playground, to make it a nicer area. That's Brentwood. Next one is Untitled Park Playground Replacement. You may have heard about this project. We recently finished it. Substantially funded by half-cent sales tax. We leveraged that to get a Health Foundation grant, and we had for 2 years in a row, we did the San Angelo Gives campaign and got about $6,000 from that to do this project. We didn't renovate the entire park. It was just a total replacement of the playground. Y'all are familiar with that park. It's got all the accessible equipment. It was finished in 1997, and it was, if you've been out there, you can see that it was showing its age. And so a few years back, we rounded up the funds to do the project. We also added new turf around the area, a washer pitching area, and new benches. And it's got the same fall zone area, the nice cushy stuff. It's called Port in Place. Unidad Park off College Hills Boulevard. It's kind of become a recreational hub for the city with that park, the Red Arroyo Trail, the dog park, the next level sports. It's kind of a cool place in the city with lots of different recreation. Here's the playground, the new equipment in the fall zone area, and the turf. If you want to, you should try that track ride. It's kind of like a zip line. Kids love it. It's fun. That's Unidad. The only thing that was original that we kept is Carl's Fort. You can see that in the background. Named for Dr. Carl Weiner. There's the irrigation and the new turf and the washer pitching area. Next project, riverbank stabilization. This is kind of following the river improvement project that we did in 2013. We had some sales tax funds left over from that project, about $200,000. Since then, council's authorized some additional funds, and we also have a TCEQ grant for some of this work. Looking at the map, this doesn't, well. Down on the left is, you can see Celebration Bridge and Oak Street. That's pretty much where the bank stabilization ends. Our goal is to work downstream from Oak Street to go as far as we can to Bell Street. The grant-funded project is from Oak Street to Concho Avenue, just below the Lady in Blue statue. This stretch, we have addressed some hot spots where there's been erosion, so we've already gone in and put some riprap to secure those areas. But there's other areas, especially behind the funeral home, where we've lost walkway because of erosion. So we want to tackle that. So we're working on the designs now. It's a slow process because we have to do what's called a CLOMAR or LOMAR, which is a conditional letter of map revision and then a letter of map revision based on the work that we intend to do. Will that affect the floodplain? And of course, that affects insurance, flood insurance. So you have to be very, very careful, very specific about what we plan to do. Will it affect that? And the goal is to have no effect whatsoever. This first stretch from Oak Street to Concho Avenue, we also intend on the north side of Concho Avenue to put in a pedestrian bridge, essentially using the leftover money from that river project, the $200,000, to create a walkway that goes under Concho Avenue to connect to the river trail, so you don't have to climb up on the bridge to go over. And then with the funding that we have, we hope to get as far up to the point there you see at the bend, the first bend. To go farther, we're going to have to get some additional funds, and we'll seek that likely from City Council when we get farther along with the design. That's the area we're focusing on. And just to clarify, we're only going to address the banks where city property is, and one exception is below the municipal court, the police station. We're not going to address that area. It's pretty well covered with vegetation and it's pretty well secure. So we're looking mostly on the west side for the lower section and then on the east side on the northern section. Next project. Pass these up. One slide may be difficult to read, but so I made a printout, but the printout's difficult to read too, so you may need your glasses. So this is one project was ballot related from the last ballot. It started with $1,750,000. It was one of the projects we held on to address later on because we were busy doing other projects. The previous council gave us direction to design the project as a youth sports practice area. and we're doing some more formal work to the fields. Since then, the council's changed and given us different direction, and what I've passed out is what got approved by city council conceptually to move forward with. And we have remaining a little over $1.5 million. As you can see from the map, this property, you may already know this, but we lease it from the Corps of Engineers. This property is included in the lease that includes the property where the San Angelo Soccer Association is, all that property below the dam, and this property is leased by the city from the Corps of Engineers. And there's a separate lease, private lease with the golf course just to the north of that. That's not ours. So this property used to be the Girls Fast Pitch Association complex. When they moved over, when we did the Texas Bank Sports Complex in 2009, it vacated this area except for one field on the north, which Northern Little League uses. And since then, it's been open to the public, but it's not in very good condition. It's not that it's unsafe, it's just not a place you want to go take the team to practice. So what we want to do is come in there and make it more usable to the public, make some good practice fields, fix up the baseball field for Northern Little League. In that lower area, create a big open area where you could practice flag football and soccer, or just have open recreation. A key thing council wanted us to do was to include a bridge that connected to Kirby Community Park on the south, and you can see that on the map. Add some walkways, add some restrooms, and we have some additional area that we're looking to sublease to a BMX group, BMX bike group. You see that on the north side. And if that's successful, they could possibly expand into that area number 15. Maybe a little bit of improvements to the parking lots as well. Fort Concho Visitor Center. We started off with $1 million. Some money went to the cultural district study that helped make official the cultural area. And then some funds went to doing some conceptual designs, schematic designs to figure out how we could turn Barracks 1 and 2 into a visitor center, more so than it already is. And then more recently, some of those funds went to, with a little bit of insurance money, re-roof both of those barracks. So our next step is to do some construction documents so that we can move forward with fundraising to actually implement this project. Right now, Fort Concho's concentrating more with the Area Foundation to reconstruct Barracks 3 and 4 in the open area you can see on the map. But this project is Barracks 1 and 2, shown on the map. The first two barracks off Oak Street. You can see the new roofs. And there's some schematics. I should have brought a map of that too. But it shows, a theater space, exhibit space, a gift shop, office areas, at the entrance. So we're excited about this project and hope to have it move forward the next few years. The next project is the design for the sculpture garden improvements, $75,000. That's the design is complete. The next step is to figure out if we want to raise money to actually implement these improvements, which we expect to cost at least $1.5 million, maybe a little more. This is Sunken Garden Park, where the sculpture garden is. As you may recall, it was Richard Salmon who kind of helped push this project along. He's the one who helped start the sculpture garden with the Art Museum, and he helped fund it in its early years. He has since moved, and I don't know how much energy and desire he has to keep moving this forward, but we need to have a conversation with him and Howard Taylor to see if we want to move forward with fundraising. Some of the improvements include a parking area, landscape areas, possible small event area where you could have art events, walkways, sculpture plinths, lighting. And that's it for the sculpture garden design. We're at the end of our parks improvements funds, and the last two projects with those funds are the renovation of Brown Park and Santa Rita Park. With council's direction back a few years ago, we've allocated $50,000 for Brown Park renovation. The good thing is we've already done some of those renovations in-house. We've already replaced the irrigation system, made improvements to the tennis courts, converted tennis courts to pickleball as well, improved some lighting. So now what we're doing is working towards doing some improvements to the walkways and adding some play equipment. That will be the next park renovation project, likely to start next fall, next winter. There's Brown Park, is at Lincoln and Johnson, and Santa Rita Park next to Santa Rita Elementary. There's Brown Park. It's a small park. We're looking to add the play equipment on the southeast corner. Santa Rita Park renovation, I think this is the last one, about $150,000. Add some walkways, renovate the park drive, improve lighting, renovate the tennis courts, add some irrigation. We very likely won't add any play equipment. There's already a playground right next to it at the elementary school. And so that project will follow Brown Park. I think that's it. If there's any questions about any of these projects.
I just have a comment I'd like to make. First of all, excellent presentation, Carl. It's an excellent presentation, Carl. And believe it or not, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Dr. Jones and I sat in a Rotary meeting last week, and it's incredible what Carl does for the community. Parks and recreation are essential for recruitment and economic development and quality of life issues. So I just want to salute you for your contribution to economic development to the city of San Angelo. I don't know how you've done it. It's 22 years now that you've been doing that, but you're just awesome. So thank you so very much.
You're too kind.
All right.
No questions?
Any questions from the board?
I'll second that. You deserve a whole lot of appreciation. These are things that happen behind the scenes, and the families and kids that visit all these parks have no clue how it happens. They just enjoy it while they're there. So I'd like to publicly appreciate you, Carl, and all your staff. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, agenda item number 6 is closed session, executive session under the provision of Government Code Title 5, Open Government Ethics, Subtitle A, Open Government Chapter 551, Open Meetings, Subchapter D, exceptions to requirement that meetings be open under the following sections. A, Section 551.072 to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property regarding Sarah R. Robertson Survey 178. We have nothing on that? Okay. So we're going to move on to, yeah, there you go. We'll move on to number 7, follow-up and administrative issues. A, consideration, possible action of items discussed in closed session if needed, obviously not applicable. B, announcements and consideration of future agenda items. Do we have anything on that? Okay.
On the meeting that we have scheduled for November and possibly December, those meetings have been bumped up. Well, I found out this week that it's possible that we may not get this room because of construction going on, that it's going to just push everybody around on meetings. So it's possible that we may have our 2 meetings at the Business Resource Center. But I will let you know definite, okay? November and December, yes.
It doesn't look like the dates might change, Nora?
No.
Okay,
No.
thank you.
All right, sounds good. Anything else? Not? Joe, you want to make a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, do you have a second?
I second it.
All right, first by Director Spano, second by Director Jones. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. It's 9:02. Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Max.